The events begin with the police that are chasing a criminal who climbed onto the roof. FBI employee Sarah Meeker climbs onto the roof to stop a criminal from committing suicide. Ray, trapped and surrounded by policemen, says that everything should not have ended this way. Despite the policeman's pleas not to do this and calm down, in the end, Ray jumps off the tower and finds himself drowning in the sea. The story begins with Ray sharing memories and reflecting on how they shape us the way we are. Where we end, our children begin. His favorite memories turn out to be walking with his wife through the woods, while their daughter climbs a mountain and enjoys by the river by the campfire, hugging her mother. The family lives very happily. Ray teaches his daughter Rachel martial arts. The daughter grows in love and respect. Mother Amanda sings a lullaby to the girl. The next moment, Amanda is examined by a doctor, and shortly after that, Ray's wife, Amanda, is diagnosed with a recurrence of cancer. The family is completely mired in debt. The mother can now provide her daughter with only a soft Paloma toy for her birthday. The father teaches his daughter martial arts and how to protect herself. A young girl is already defeating her father, beating him in the fight. The doctor announces the good news. Ray receives encouraging news that the development of a cancer drug is nearing the final stage of approval. Filled with optimism, he believes that this will save his wife. Rachel is also very happy. However, after some time, the doctor informs him that the manufacturer of the drug, Spiro Bioprime, has withdrawn it from the market and stopped production not for several months, but forever. The pharmaceutical company Bioprime also paid manufacturers of similar drugs to stop production. This news shocks both Ray and Rachel. In the chamber, the family is watching TV, where they are interviewed live by the head of the Bioprime company, Simon Keeley, and Pennsylvania Congresswoman Diana Morgan. Diana Morgan speaks negatively about the pharmaceutical company as Bioprime, to which Simon Keeley, the head of Bioprime, claims in an interview that his company is different from other pharmaceutical companies. Simon says that their company invented the Inferno drug, which extended the life of 86% of cancer patients. Morgan argues that the company's problem is not in efficiency, but in business methods and the unavailability of medicines for ordinary citizens, which contradicts the rule of healthcare as a basic human rule. To which Simon replies that, although the course of treatment costs $4, there are also millions of funds and investments are being spent on drug development. Ray, furious to the point of horror at Keeley's answers, decides to call during the live broadcast and catch Simon off guard. Upon learning that Bioprime has recalled its medicines, both Morgan and the interviewer have questions for Simon Keeley himself. Simon directly addresses Ray and expresses his condolences for his situation, adding that Bioprime is set to cure the world of cancer. However, Ray does not believe in his words, saying that the whole purpose of the pharmaceutical company is to earn as much money as possible, to which he receives a cheeky response from the head of the Bioprime company that the time spent with his family, a year, a month, a day, is worth a lot. An angry Ray threatens Simon with violence if his wife dies of cancer. Meanwhile, Amanda is slowly dying in a hospital bed, hugging her daughter Rachel. Ray looks at her, admires her for the last time while his daughter sings her favorite lullaby to her mother, thereby preparing her to enter into another world. Unable to restrain himself, Ray walks away from his wife and daughter and quietly cries from the hopelessness of the situation. 6 months later, Ray is still worried about his wife's death. He beats a punching bag and at the same time cannot accept such injustice in his direction. After that, he goes home, where hospital bills and a bunch of loans are waiting for him. Suddenly, Ray receives a call from a journalist who claims to have secret information about the head of Bioprime and that very influential people, including Simon Keeley, may be in prison. Although Ray initially did not want to communicate with a journalist, in the end he saw in the idea of meeting a hope to avenge his wife. Rachel also wants to be involved in the meeting, but Ray fears for her safety and leaves her at home. Turns out to be not so easy to meet with a journalist. The journalist, worried for his safety, tries to hide in the crowd and not catch people's eyes. Having felt in advance that their conversation could be monitored, Rachel keeps an eye on her father to keep up to date with the event and protect her father. During a meeting on the subway, the journalist tells Ray that Simon's company has connections in all spheres of politics and bribes everyone who is aware of their shady dealings, including the company that produced the drug that Amanda needed. Suddenly, in the middle of the dialogue, an unknown killer breaks in and kills the journalist in front of Ray and his daughter. He also attacks Ray and his daughter, who are watching their father, but the attempt to kill them turns out to be unsuccessful, after which the killer hides and the father and daughter fall out of the subway badly injured, but miraculously they were able to survive. After all that has happened, Rachel is increasingly convinced of the cruelty of this world. She fights with a man older and stronger than her, but she manages to grab him and defeat him. However, Rachel does not respond to requests to stop from her coach and continues to strangle her opponent. She is brought to herself, but the girl herself finds herself in a shocked state from her strength. For many days, Ray considered the possibility of revenge. After his conversation with the journalist and witnessing his death, Ray decides to take action against Simon at a UNICEF conference. Having come up with a very detailed payback plan, Ray proceeds to execute it. Disguised as a waiter, he sets a trap for Keeley, first neutralizing his bodyguard with a fire extinguisher. Once alone with Simon, he asks why he did this to his wife, to which he says that he just turned out to be a victim of circumstances and asks for mercy. Then they started fighting, and in self-defense, Ray kills Simon and quickly rushes to escape from the scene of the crime. The police and FBI have received information about the brutal murder of the head of Bioprime, immediately begin searching for Ray and his daughter, who are now on the run. Sarah Meeker asks the surviving bodyguard about what he heard the last time. The bodyguard, who is not in the best condition, cannot really remember what the conversation between Ray and Simon was about, but he clearly heard that the conversation was about a woman and that she was forced to torture. Finally, the bodyguard gives a trace on the criminal, saying that the criminal had previously threatened Simon Keeley with violence if something happened to this woman. Ray and Rachel are on their way to Toronto. However, their relationship deteriorates greatly. The daughter does not want to talk to her father and suggests that she talk to the toy Paloma. Meanwhile, Sarah Meeker and her team investigating Cooper's case find an excerpt of the live broadcast that was a few years ago and announce a search for his car. At the motel, Ray's daughter Rachel calls Sarah Meeker, an FBI employee investigating their case, and wants to reveal the truth about the whole situation. The girl says that the real culprit of the whole situation is Simon, who has killed a lot of people. She says Ray is a very good, honest man and that he needs help. When Meeker asks if she needs help herself, the girl replies that she will be fine and that she badly needs her father. Sarah gives Rachel her untraceable phone number, but the girl quickly resets the phone. The same night, their pursuers come to the motel to kill them. However, Ray manages to kill one of them, and with the second, they fall from the second floor of the motel onto the car, and Ray manages to kill the pursuer with a pistol while falling from the car. Rachel sees cruel scenes of violence, but they escape further. Meanwhile, the FBI continues to dig up information about the Cooper family, and this time they broke into their house. But they were stopped by the news that Ray's car was found next to the double murder. Although Ray and Rachel were able to escape, Rachel hates this lifestyle of fugitives and condemns her father's actions, urging him to stop. Ray's next target is Vinod Shah, Simon's partner at the pharmaceutical company Bioprime. However, as it turns out, he is not the only one hunting for this man. Ray sets a trap for the wealthy Shah, who is surrounded by several cars and guards. After blocking it in a broken bridge, a fight ensues between Shah and Ray. Ray is saved at the last moment by a mysterious stranger who had previously killed a journalist. However, the killer is in no hurry to help Ray, but on the contrary, tries to end it with him. The father and daughter manage to escape this time too. The mysterious killer stops at a cafe by the road, where Ray also rushed. During a conversation in a cafe, a stranger tells that he was ordered to kill anyone who would interfere, including him. The killer also suggests that Diana Morgan, a congresswoman running for senator, is behind all these crimes. The FBI spots Ray and Rachel's car, which leads to a helicopter chase. Trapped, Ray escapes from the car pursued by the police. He climbs the tower where Sarah Meeker catches up with him. Unexpectedly for Ray, Meeker tells him that they had met before, remembers about Paloma, and convinces him that he is not like his father. The plot twist reveals that all the crimes were actually committed by Rachel, not her father. After the assassination attempt on the subway, Ray and Rachel fought with the killer, as a result of which Ray died and Rachel lost consciousness. Unable to cope with the loss of a second parent, 18-year-old Rachel's psyche splits. The second self, believing that this is her father, seeks revenge on those responsible for her mother's death. Meanwhile, Rachel's main personality carefully watches and communicates with the policeman who is hunting her because of the death of Bioprime executives. Rachel jumps off the roof, realizing that things shouldn't end this way, and falls into the water. She's rescued by the police. However, she's not ready to give up. She stops the ambulance and goes after her next target. The ultimate target is Congresswoman Diana Morgan. Rachel gets to her meeting with the public, where she eloquently shares the success of her cancer campaign. After the end of the performance, the girl pursues Morgan, but is stopped by the killer. The fight between her and the man lasts for quite a long time. At the very end, the killer drowns the girl, but she gets up and kills the hitman in the fountain. Rachel followed Morgan's footsteps and caught her off guard when she was left all alone. The girl threatens the congresswoman with a knife and tells her to tell the whole truth. Morgan admits that all this time she pretends to be fighting with a pharmaceutical company, actually took bribes from them and hired a killer to cover all the traces. In the end, she adds that these are the rules and the richer one always wins. At the last moment, Rachel is restrained from re-killing, records the congresswoman's confession, and sends it to the police. In conclusion, Morgan is found guilty of the contract killing of the heads of Bioprime Company and the death of Rachel's father. Having got what she wanted and cleared her reputation, the girl flies to another country to start life from scratch, with a new goal after realizing her father's main and last wish.